Yeah. All right, turning now to this. The man accused of killing Charlie Kirk declining to testify during this week's preliminary hearing. The judge says he will decide if the case will go to trial after another hearing on September 1st.
In the courtroom yesterday, the prosecution arguing against continuing testimony, pointing to the mountain of evidence already presented against the suspect, Tyler Robinson.
Your Honor has heard 4 days of testimony now. The evidence is overwhelming. It's devastating. And the question needs to be asked, the purpose of continuing with testimony if it's long and drawn out. Of course, the defense has the right to call witnesses, but it needs to be within the context of this preliminary hearing.
Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, submitting a court filing after the hearing. She's urging the judge to make a decision on moving forward to trial by the 1st of September hearing.
That's right. In the statement, Kirk says, quote, a prompt determination is imperative in the interest of justice as the court approaches 1 year since Charlie Kirk's death. 10 months have passed since the defendant was arrested, and the preliminary hearing has now concluded. The defendant is entitled to a fair trial, and he must receive one. Earlier, we spoke to Charlie Kirk's mentor about the family's push for swift justice.
We don't even have a court date. What we have is a date for when the judge is going to say we have probable cause. Griff, we had probable cause in the first 10 minutes of this hearing, it seems. Monday, there was enough time to go to a trial or enough evidence to go to a trial.
And the evidence that we saw presented this week really is truly a mountain, an avalanche of evidence, with the hearing from Lance Twiggs to the bullets, seeing those engraved bullets. The evidence, we can sort of lay it out for you. DNA prosecutors say links Robinson to the rifle, the surveillance footage tracing Robinson's movement, the ballistics and firearms analysis, the Dremel tool used to engrave on those bullets, matching ammo and firearms found in Robinson's home. And the big one was certainly the testimony directly hearing from Lance Twiggs, along with seeing, again, those text messages, some of which we had already seen.
His text messages were weird. The text messages between the trans lover and Tyler Robinson were some of the strangest text messages. Didn't sound like two Gen Z guys. I mean, listen, there's a lot of questions. There is a lot of evidence coming out. Let's hear it all out.
Yeah, well, they're weird, so that could be one of the reasons
that
why
is true.
The texts come across as being very weird. But I was talking to a prosecutor friend of mine who said, who's prosecuted a lot of cases, said that he has never seen a case going in on day one with this much overwhelming evidence, suggesting, you know, certainly that there's cause for a trial, but even further than that, suggesting absolute unquestionable guilt. But I have to say, kudos to Erica Kirk, because as you mentioned, Rachel, you know, there have been a lot of conspiracy theories that have spawned. There will always be conspiracy theories that spawn from something like this, anything like this. But God bless her, and God bless the family for pursuing openness. And at every time, to the point where Tyler Robinson's lawyers even attacked Erica Kirk for her desire for all of this to be open, because the only way you answer all of those questions, whether it's the weirdness of the text messages or some of the other things that just as a casual bystander you look at and you think, well, that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
I don't understand. The only way you answer these things is with an open court trial. And for Erica Kirk and Charlie's family and her family to put aside just their own agony and pain and misery of all of this, to say, but wait, we need all of this to be completely open so that we answer all those questions. God bless her, and God bless them all.
We absolutely need to answer all those questions.
Well, and I think to a certain extent, the country is watching this, and they're really wondering, wow, we see so much evidence, to the point of your prosecutor friend. How does it take Judge Tony Graff until September 1st, potentially, to decide that this case will go to trial? because we're in July and it's a pretty clear-cut case. We'll see where it goes. The judge could choose to make a decision before September 1st, but how incredibly painful it is for the Kirk family to be a year later, essentially, before it actually goes to trial.
Yeah, that has to be very painful. But I think for the country, I mean, this was a very traumatic event. There's an entire generation I mean, the whole country was traumatized, but there's something especially traumatizing for young people, especially those who were there on that campus, to see an execution live. And then all of us saw it because of social media. There's so many questions. Was he acting alone? Why did they, there's still questions about the gun, what type of gun it was used, and the bullet wounds. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. Let's get it all out there. Answer every question, every conspiracy theory, one by one by one, and then let's see where it lands. So then everyone can feel like they can, in some way, put it behind us. I mean, he was a friend of all of ours, and justice needs to be served here.
Well, and of course, those people have to pay attention and actually listen and actually look at the facts of the case. The sad part of it is a lot of these people who are perpetuating these conspiracy theories are not interested in the facts. And so when questions are perfectly answered about the rifle or about whatever, they're not interested in hearing it. And I think for a lot of them, I think it's
I think that's true, but there was some weird stuff. Like, why did they have... I'm not saying that I agree with any of these, but I understand people's concern. There was like concrete laid that like 2 days after the shooting in the area where he was at, where there could have been bullet fragments. Why did that happen? People have a lot of questions. Let's answer them all.
Charlie, I believe you were filling in for Jesse this week when you interviewed Don Jr.
Yeah.
And his response to you was like, this is irrefutable.
Yeah, and as a guy who is a noted skeptic, as I am, as we all are, we try very hard to be skeptics. But you have to there are actors involved here who are unwilling to actually listen to the evidence and actually pay attention, because I think, quite frankly, I think they're more motivated by having questions unanswered, because that's no fun. And and I get it. And it's a free country. You can go out and say whatever you want to say, and that's fine. But as responsible people, I think it's important to remember who those people are and not listen to them going into the future, because they have some other interests, and I don't know what they are, don't care what they are, but they're goofy people. And God bless Erica Kirk for pushing for so much openness here.
We'll see where that goes.
Evidence.
Yep.
We all want to see it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.